like you think you're royalty. You think that I'm afraid, but I don't break. I heard you question my stability. You think I'll fall just like a guillotine, but I am here to stay. Won't look away. The storm is coming, so you better start running. No, you can't control, feel it in my bones. I'm coming for the, coming for the. I'm coming for the throne. For the throne. So you wanna be my enemy? You should've known I'd never kiss the rain. Ice runs in my veins, won't play it safe. I don't belong with your nobility. Who died and made you king of anything? You think that I'm insane? It's your mistake. Kingdoms rise and fall. I've come to take it all. I'll take it. I've come to take it. Kingdoms rise and fall. I've come to take it all. So you better start running. No, you can't control, feel it in my bones. I'm coming for the, coming for the. I'm coming for the throne. For the throne.
Let's go. Yo, I'm like an addict, do I gotta have it. I ain't even playing, got a really bad habit. If it moves, gotta grab it, fuse like a magnet. Lose, won't have it till I'm doomed in a casket. I ain't playing, got a weird mind. If you work 8 hours, I'ma work 9. If the shit tastes sour, you should taste mine. I'ma stay in power for a long time. Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that? I'm new, come back, better than last. Yeah, it's a new me, never gonna look back. Never gonna look back. Cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast, and that's facts. Only I can make a change. Slowly take a step today. I will never be the same. Cause that's what it takes. I take shots to the top, I'll get it. I got one life, I'm form of art. I'm never gonna look back, cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast, and that's facts. Only I can make a change, slowly take a step today. I will never be the same, cause that's what it takes.
All right, guys. Happy Thursday. Mediocre, how you doing, amigo?
Pretty good. What's up, brother?
Just chilling. I see Dink said he had at least 2 of the books that I showed in the video. I don't even remember how many I put in that video entry, Dink, but those are some good ones. And I have, I think on my YouTube channel or in the Discord, I have a recommended reading list. I've been trying to build that out for you guys. I have a new one that Corax wanted me to read, Mediocre. It's called The Caesar's Palace Coup. 25th, about the 2015 bankruptcy brawl for Caesar's Palace. So I'm going to check that one out. I think he's doing some sort of book review club. That's his plan, which I mean, I think reading financial books and learning is good. If you want to progress in your career as an investor.
You gotta make that money, baby.
Got to make that money. I want to talk about some movie stuff first while we're waiting for people to show up here. I got Beetlejuice expected this weekend. This was yesterday's news. 100 to 110 domestic is the expected opening. We were supposed to see it tonight. My wife asked if we could push it off a day or so. So I still haven't seen it. And therefore, Mediocre, since you've seen it, tell us a little bit about it. You went yesterday. Was it full? Did you enjoy it? Did you laugh? Do you think it's going to do well?
I thought it was funny. I mean, I liked it, honestly. I thought it was Beetlejuice, you know. I thought it was pretty funny. I kind of like the storyline. It took a little long to get to where we were going, but other than that, it was good.
Do you think that people should rewatch the first one before watching this one? It's been a while.
I do. I think, yeah, because you know, they tied in the first one with the second one for sure.
Okay, and I need to rewatch it maybe tomorrow morning. Then other news we have just to catch up: domestic quarterly. We have about 25 days left in this month, so a little bit over 3 weeks. We're at 2.13 billion. Let's say we add with Beetlejuice and the others 150 million conservatively to that. That's going to put us at 2.28, almost 2.3 billion, and then we'll be, let's see, 20 days left in the month. And I want to see at least 2.5 billion domestic by the end of this month, so AMC cannot have any cash burn. I know, would I like to see more than that? Absolutely. We'll have to see. We're not going to go through all the movies again tonight. But I still think we're on track for, at a minimum, break-even quarter for AMC. What are your thoughts?
I think, I think break even's possible. I go based off your numbers, so I like them. I like where we're at. Um, Hopefully, we can do a little better. You know,
I mean, I'd like to say it's going to be a for sure profit, and I know there's people out there telling folks it's going to be a $100 million profit. I'm not
cheers.
counting any. Hey, cheers, cheers to a profit. I'd love to see that, and maybe it'll happen. We'll know more after this weekend, and I'll do these updates once a week or so. My number is like 2.45 billion domestic. Anything above that is gravy. So it's really up to the folks to go out and watch the movies. There's not much. All I can do is tell you what the numbers say. It's up to people to go watch the movies and bring in the revenue.
Got to go see the movies.
And I
We
think
were
we'll
gonna go
have.
tonight, but we didn't go.
What were you going to see?
We were just gonna go pick some. She wanted to see Beetlejuice again, but I'm like,
Oh my gosh. This
do that
weekend
first.
on my list, so is Beetlejuice and Reagan at a minimum. Those two. If I can fit in a third one, I will. What was I going to say? Oh, as far as the earnings, and we'll talk about this more maybe at the end of the month when I do my quarterly wrap up. But I think that there should be, whatever happens operationally, just the regular numbers, because of that debt for equity exchange and all the restructuring they did in July. I think that we'll also get some extra padding on the income statement from that gain from extinguishment of debt. You know how we see that from time to time.
Yeah, I hope
But
it happens. You know,
real excited about that if that's there, like I expect, because it's going to make the earnings look fantastic. I'm just telling y'all, Wall Street's not really going to care about that because it's a non-cash gain. So when you see it, just be ready. There's going to be this wild reaction, and then, oh, well, why didn't anything happen? Things will happen if the profits are there operationally. That's what we need to see.
I hope that's the case.
I hope it is. Hope it is. All right, let's see who's in the chat here tonight. Anya, what's up? Dink, numbers, letters, broke ape. What's going on? Tito, how you doing, amigo? Matt, and who else? JP says yesterday was Wednesday. If you expect the movies to be full, well, I mean, like when we were looking at going last night, the 7 p.m. showing was almost sold out except the front row. And isn't that what you saw too, Mediocre?
Yeah, for the first showing, yeah.
There was a 9:45 on Wednesday last night for Beetlejuice. It was about 50% full. I haven't checked tonight. What time is it? 7:45. I'm going to check while we're chatting here and see how my local area. And I'd love when you guys tell me how theaters are looking in your local area, because I don't like having anecdotal evidence. I mean, I can check my city, but let me know from time to time, especially if you're in a big city, how is it looking in your area? Tonight, 7:45 is about 2/3 full. That's in the non-Dolby, and the 9:30 Dolby is about half full. So pretty good for a Thursday. Let's check Friday, and then we'll close out with any other movie questions y'all have. I got a couple other things I want to talk about before we move to GameStop. Friday night, 7:00, almost full except the front row. 10 p.m. about half full. 8:30, that's a small theater. It's only about 1/3 full. There's too many to check, but it's looking good. I mean, there's a lot of choices for times on Friday. And here's another one, 8:00, non-Dolby, about 2/3 full. It'll be a good weekend, I think, for Beetlejuice.
I hope so. I hope Adam Aaron puts some numbers out rather quickly. I don't want them to sit on them too long.
I don't think we'll get an early. You're talking about an early pre-release of numbers.
Yeah, like how they sometimes do the opening night
Uh,
numbers.
just like saying AMC made X dollars this weekend. Thank you, Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
I thought you meant for a second, like you were hoping he gives us a early look at Q3 numbers.
No. I mean just Beetlejuice numbers, weekend
Yeah,
numbers, like box office numbers.
I got you.
I don't know that he'll do it, but
JP says, I live in Naples. My closest AMC is in a very bad neighborhood in Fort Myers. Ouch. Sorry to hear that. Probably on the closure list then, JP. I will likely get unalived, he says. So even though I am in the play, I will not visit. I don't blame you. We don't want you getting unalived over a movie. A couple other
I
things.
hang out at Fort Myers Beach, so I don't know, man. Making me nervous.
Couple crazy things going on this week in social media, mediocre. I think we talked about the that movie. Shit, what's it called? The one that they were saying AMC was trying to suppress.
Movie?
Huh?
That Christian movie?
Yeah, what the heck is it called? I already forgot about it. Anyways, Adam tweeted about it, and he said we're not suppressing this movie. So I'm glad he stepped up and called those people out.
Circle of Dreams.
City of Dreams is the name of it. City of Dreams. He called them out, and they also published a press release saying AMC's not suppressing this movie. So screw all the conspiracy theorist hacks putting out that clickbait information. Thank you, Adam, for clearing that up. And then the other thing we had going on this week was that darn Morningstar data, which I feel like I've spent most of my week tweeting about. Guys, all right, let me just explain this to you the simplest way that I can, because it's hard to explain on Twitter, but you guys know there's 10, 20, 100 different websites you can go to see institutional ownership. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Do you think that these institutions are reporting individually to 100 different websites? Mediocre, is that what you think?
No.
How do they report their ownership?
They are required by law to report to the SEC, Tony.
Quarterly on a 13F filing. And so the SEC Edgar website, if you want to know what a fund or institution owns, you go to that website and all the raw data is right there. That's the official count that any institution or fund owns. If it's an institution, it'll be a 13F, if like a Vanguard. If Vanguard has 10 ETFs under it, there will be additional filings called a N-Port, letter N, P-O-R-T, and those will give you the numbers for each fund, and they will roughly add up to Vanguard's number on the 13F. So 13F is the summary. The imports are the breakdown underneath that. It's not always going to match because Vanguard might own some outright for itself. But Northern Trust Bank is the entity here. And I went and looked at their 13F. And of course, we know there's not 14 trillion shares of AMC. No matter what Donahue George says, mediocre, it's probably not 14 trillion shares, or 12 trillion Dell, or 5 trillion of Riley, or 20 trillion of Hyatt. I mean, I got tired of looking. There's so many companies that were affected by this bad data. It was not just AMC, GameStop, and costs. Now,
Tony, let me ask you a question.
Tony, why is it only the meme stocks? It's not. You're not looking. What's your
Let me, a-
question? And then I'll.
let me ask you a question. Do you think it's more likely that Morningstar is as a person doing data entry, or more likely that they have AI that's doing it, and it
They
was
have
probably an AI mistake?
the data scraper. So that's what I was going to say. You go to the SEC website, and every time these 13Fs get filed, these big companies scrape the data and populate their web page that we see, whether it's Morningstar or Fintel, all of them. Some of them have their own scraper. Some of them buy the data from a data consolidator. That's why sometimes, like today, you pretty much only, I mean, this week, you pretty much only saw Morningstar was the only one with the error. You could go on virtually any other site. I know there was one more, Trendline, who probably buys their data from Morningstar, but everybody else had the right data. And of course, people want to tell me, Tony, you Morningstar is the only one that has the real data. All the other sites, including the SEC, have the incorrect information. Does that really make sense? You gotta, guys, I want you to put on your logic hat and get out of the conspiracy stuff. The only source of data is the SEC website. So if you can't find it there, Morningstar must be incorrect. There's no other
So
answer.
I got another question for you, Tony.
Yeah.
If Morningstar was legit and it was reported to Morningstar, don't you think the SEC would be looking into it?
No one's reporting to Morningstar. That's the thing.
I
People
know
don't
that,
send their
but
13 Fs
their
to
narrative
Morningstar.
is right, but that's their narrative, though. I'm just saying, hypothetically, if that was happening, don't you think
Well,
that the SEC would look into that?
you would think. I mean, if there was trillions of shares in every publicly traded company, that would let us know that something is seriously amiss. But the simple fact is, no one reports to Morningstar. They pull their data, and there's only one data source, and that is the SEC. And
That's right.
I look, I
And the
wasted
reason
2 days.
is
I wasted 2 days, mediocre, just trying to, be unemotional. Let me uncover every possible stone here, and maybe there's a bad filing somewhere. We've seen
Tony.
that before, right? Uh, uh, they get a decimal point off on a filing,
Yeah, that it
and
happened, right? But the
but
whole
then
point
we
is
everybody has the bad data
right. The
when
point
the
is
filing.
it's getting reported to the SEC.
What I found was that this data just didn't exist with the SEC. So the only logical conclusion is Morningstar had an error. And then they admitted to me that they had an error, and I published that, and people still call me FUD. Like, you guys are going to lose all your fucking money if you can't learn to trust someone who's putting in days of work to get you factual information. You don't have to believe me. Just don't comment on my stuff, though, because if you don't like facts, I will block people, especially when they get mean about it. Yeah, you're just pushing soft FUD. You don't want us to know about the trillion of shares. I'd love to know about trillions of shares. If I could have found the damn filing, I would have been screaming it from the rooftops. But simple fact is, the data did not exist. Anyways, I'm sure some clickbaiters got some good videos out of it, and some pumpers on Twitter, got some legs on that. But I try not to do that stuff. I find it very distasteful to pump people up with false information like that.
I don't know. I think people are getting smarter. I think, Tony. I don't know.
No, I thought they were mediocre, but I mean, this is the first week that I've had to block so many people for trying to help them look at things from a logical perspective and explain how market mechanics work and where the data resides. And the amount of attacks I got over this is just crazy. People have still, 3 years into this, lost their damn minds. Go ask anyone. You don't have to listen to me. Go ask anyone that you trust. Where is the data repository for institutional ownership? If they tell you anything other than the SEC, they are lying to you, or they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Plain and simple. So you guys can listen to whoever you want. I don't care.
What do you?
I think that's what.
I'm reading a comment in the comment section. I'm interested in the comment, to be honest. But
Which one?
It's user one's comment. He says, "Can we discuss the history behind why AMC owns Hycroft mining shares? Why doesn't AMC divest of these shares since it's not related to the core business?"
Yeah. I mean, I'll just tell you what I know. There's a lot of things I don't know, and there's a lot of questions I have that I think some of you guys have too. Like, why did we do this? Was it to help out Mudrick? Maybe. I don't know. I wouldn't argue with someone that said that it was to help out Mudrick, because
Yeah.
I don't know. But could AMC also make a profit from it? Maybe. Adam told us that it was about a 7-year investment, and we're about 3 years into this now, I guess. And Hycroft is telling us next year we're going to get a feasibility study, which will have the economics of what it's going to take, what we could expect as far as a return if they're able to profitably mine. And Ms. Garrett, CEO Diane Garrett, has said that once they publish that, this is what, if I could summarize her words, they're going to start mining right away and start putting stuff back on the leach pads, but they might have a build out process for the new ore processing, and that might take another year or two. So I think it's, it's just like, be realistic on your time frame. Adam told everybody on day one, 5 to 7 years. You should listen to that. Anyone who's getting mad 2 or 3 years into this didn't listen on day one. Do you remember him saying that, Mediocre?
Yeah, but I never really understood it either, so that's why.
It's because they got to do the exploring. They got to create the feasibility study, which will probably be 300 to 500 pages. They got to order the equipment. They got to get the permits. They got to do the build out. It's going to be a new process for the ore that's underground. They've already got the easy stuff. So I just say, that's why I don't own any right now. It's a long-term game. You can own it if you want, but it's still too much up in the air for me.
I haven't looked at that in a long time.
What could happen a few years from now as far as could AMC make a profit or not? I don't know. What's the price of gold going to be in 1, 2, 5 years? That's your first question. Do you know? I don't know. Is it going to be higher? Is it going to be lower? The higher the price of gold gets, the more profitable this mine could be. So you could have your thoughts on that. And we know there's gold and silver there. Can they extract it profitably? I can't also answer that till I see the study in the economics. So they had to do the reverse split. That's probably why AMC, they'd take a loss right now to sell, right? They bought in at what, $1? They bought in at $1 and change, right, Mediocre?
Yeah.
And it ran up to 3. So, I mean,
and it went through reverse split, didn't it?
Yeah. And now, I mean, I don't know what is a junior miner? How much do they go up in price once they say, all right, here's our IRR and here's what we expect to get over the next 10 years as we get back into mining? There's like too many unknowns for me to hazard a guess, but it's also too many unknowns for people to say it's definitely a flop. It could be a flop for AMC. I don't know. We're just
Yeah.
I'm just like along for the ride. I'm not invested, so I don't really care. It was a small amount of money for AMC in
That's what I
terms
was gonna
of
say.
what they had in the bank back then, and they got free warrants in addition to the shares they bought. So
I
that's
think they
all I
kind
know.
of, from the way I look at it, and I don't know, I don't, I take it with a grain of salt, but I just kind of wrote it off and part of the problem with it, right? Like it's not, it's in our financials, but I don't think it hurts us as much as other things.
It doesn't. It's sunk cost at this point. It's not hurting or helping unless the price of Hycroft goes up.
Then it helps,
It'll
but
it'll help if the price of Hycroft goes up. So we'll see. Anya says, like AA says, some aren't playing with a full deck, right, Anya?
I don't disagree with that.
JP says it was a money laundering scheme. I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to argue with anyone that says that until I see the final outcome, JP.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't predict 2-3 years in the future from now what the price of gold is going to be and what the economics of that mine are going to be. I mean, it could be wildly successful, or it could be a complete flop. We'll find out.
Nobody knows.
I'm not defending Hycroft, and I'm not promoting it either. I'm just on the sidelines trying to give y'all unbiased info and explain to you why I'm not investing in it. You can do whatever you want. I see people pumping it every day. I don't understand why, since they're not mining. But if they're lucky and the report comes out super favorable, we're not really seeing Hycroft get dragged down in price. But I do think they will need to probably raise some money to build out the next phase. The processing plant. But maybe they don't stick around for that. Maybe they just sell it. I mean, what if you got in at $2 now? I'm not talking about AMC, and they sell it for $4 a share, and you just boom, double your money and you're out, or you get shares of a bigger mining operation that wants to take over Hycroft. Wouldn't work out so well for AMC, maybe, but I don't judge people that invest in it or push it. I just tell you what I'm doing. And it's too speculative for me, but I don't like super high risk stuff. And if that ever changes, I'll let y'all know. Tito says he sold puts this week for next week for AMC. User one says tomorrow there's a big unemployment number coming out. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier this week, weren't we, Mediocre?
Absolutely, we were.
A lot of fear in the markets about recession. I haven't done a lot of trading this week because of those very same concerns. I think selling, on the one hand, I think selling calls this week would have been a good play if you had the right stocks with the right volatility. I haven't even sold calls this week.
I did.
I wanted to put up the AMC and GameStop charts. We'll talk about GameStop real quick. And then, Mediocre, before we wrap up tonight, I want to see if you want to share any thoughts on Lunar with the folks. But if you want to, fine. If you don't, that's fine too. But let's look at the chart for AMC and GameStop real quick. NVIDIA closed at 107 today. Been watching that one. AMC just kind of treading water here. Let's go to the daily. Just stuck here, Mediocre, since May. I really want to see how this weekend looks. Oh, I did buy some this week, Mediocre. Yesterday, I need to add that on here. I got added a little more at 464. So I actually increased my cost average.
Oh yeah, you did. We were talking about that.
my cost average was 420. Now it's around 440. So cross fingers for me. Not financial advice for sure, but I started seeing some. I started feeling a little more bullish when the Beetlejuice numbers kept getting bumped up mediocre, and I don't think we're going to lose money this quarter, but still got 3 weeks to go. We'll know better at the end of this month. So that's where we're at with AMC. I'm just hoping. This is my hope that if Beetlejuice comes in really good, I've been seeing people on social media saying the short interest is going down. I'm not even looking at that. I'm just if we're going to have a break even or profitable quarter, I would expect the short interest to go down. Unless AMC announces a massive dilution, I don't know what, or there's a market correction. I don't know what would cause us to tumble back down to the $3 level. So I kind of like buying in this range. And I'm hoping that as we get better numbers this month, I'll get lucky and we get a push through this supply zone up here. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
You think that's a reasonable bet, mediocre?
I like it. I mean,
It's
I'm
not
kinda
for
hoping that
sure,
happens
but
myself. I don't know if it's going to happen because the way the economy is at the
yeah,
moment. But
that's sucking the life out of the market and stocks this week, especially.
absolutely.
And that's what happened to GameStop. Let's put GameStop up here real quick. A lot of buzz over the weekend, people hyping up the options chain, people lying to folks that book value matters, people making up numbers for telling folks GameStop this week is going to hit all-time highs.
That's the same guy that was talking about us.
Oh man, I mean these people, man. I feel sorry for the folks listening to these GameStop folks that think book value actually matters to the price of GameStop. I heard he one of the GameStop guys got called out from someone on his channel. He said that GameStop has no earnings, and what did he say? He said, well, earnings don't matter. This isn't a growth play. Don't worry about that 280 PE ratio. We're not a growth play. We're a value play.
Oh my God.
Dude, you're not a value play. You're trading at 2x book. A value play is when the stock price is under book. And the book value of GameStop right now is $10. Let's be 10, 1050, whatever you want to call it. Until you're trading below 1050, you're not a value play. You're an overpriced stock with no earnings other than interest. And I've already calculated the interest for the year. If they make 5% on $4 billion for the year, it's still at an $11 stock with a 25 PE ratio, using a normal PE ratio. I'm not telling you that's my price target. Quit twisting my words. I'm just telling you how Wall Street is going to analyze GameStop. You can do the math. 5%, if my memory is correct, 5% on 4 billion, 200 million would give GameStop around 50 cents in annual earnings. If they broke even on operations, multiply 50 cents times 25. What's your price based on normal financial analysis? $15, $13. We're going to give them a bonus. We'll add to that for investor sentiment and having a great balance sheet. It's a dumb short below $20, I think. But you're going to have a hard time pushing this thing up without some other catalyst. Roaring Kitty would be great. Any news from Ryan on earnings that they're buying something? Any news at all? And this stock could soar. But if you don't get that, then I think, you ought to be cautious overspending for this stock. I don't mind buying it at 17, 18, 19, but 23, 24, the higher it goes, the more risk you're taking if there's no news. or if they don't massively beat expectations. Let's be real, mediocre. The expectations for GameStop's earnings are pretty bad. If they beat that somehow, if they are able to improve margins or cut costs, that would be good. I don't know. I'm just going to tell you, nobody knows. But the GameStop people will tell you they know. And you should buy this stock at any price. Okay. I mean, go ahead and do that. But if it doesn't work out, don't be crying.
The downside. You want to put up Bro Gabe's comment real quick? I actually like the guy.
The last one.
Yeah.
What's the downside of holding SQQ?
The downside is it's a triple leverage ETF, number one.
Yep.
So, there's always incremental losses every day, right?
It's a daily reset.
Right. So
I want you guys to go look up a video. Maybe I'll do one this week because that's a good non-confrontational topic. There's just so much nonsense out there, mediocre. I don't even want to make a video this week.
I mean, it's crazy that, you got people out there calling you and I freaking pumpers. Like, are you?
While they're making up numbers and lying to their audience that book value matters. They don't even understand what book value is.
You don't hear no pump on this channel, I'll tell you right now. Right? I'm not trying to pump shit. I could care less. I trade, period. So I got no reason to pump.
That's what they're really mad at, mediocre, is that we keep trading this thing, GameStop, profitably while they hold it, and they hold it to 40 and 60 and let it run all the way back down.
We're out here talking about how we trade. Okay. If they can't figure it out, what's that say about them?
Yeah.
What's it say about them, Tony? Right? Like we're very blunt and honest with what we're doing. So if you can't figure it out, I mean, whose problem is that? It's not my problem.
Mediocre. If it runs to 1,000, are we going to miss it?
No.
We're not going to miss anything, but we're also not going to take any losses while we're waiting. It takes me 1 second to go in and buy shares if it starts running. The SQQ or any triple leverage ETF, guys, these are meant as daily trading vehicles. That's who they're designed for. Someone who's making a bet for the day.
I mean, there are strategies for holding it, but you better understand what you're doing.
I know people that hold it, but you know what I always hear from them? I was wondering why I wasn't making any money on that thing. It's because of the daily reset.
I mean, I would hold it and sell options for shorter periods of time, right? Like I've held SQQ, but I was playing the game with it, with the wheel strategy and stuff. But it doesn't always work out in your favor either, right? It could go against you. But if the stock runs up, if the market recovers, you're gonna get hurt. That's the problem. So I mean, just understand what you're doing is all I'm saying. Read up on it. I don't necessarily hate it, but just don't overdo it. That's all.
Yeah, we've played them from time to time. It's not something that I do on a regular basis. JP says, I think GameStop earnings will suck. However, they might announce a dividend. So let's say they did a $1 dividend. He's saying for this quarter. He's saying a dollar for this quarter, $400 million that they would just spend 10% of the money they brought in. And then is it 300? I thought it was 400 million. 388 is the float, 426 outstanding. So let's just call it $400 million. I always see people saying we need a dividend to uncover the shorts, but usually what happens is a dividend gets retail excited. And the short interest on GameStop's 10%. Last time I checked, it could be a little higher now. So I don't know what kind of shorts you're trying to uncover. The shorts are heading for the hills already because the company has no debt. They have $4 billion in cash and the bankruptcy thesis is dead. It's a pretty dumb short. So that's why you're seeing the short interest so low on GameStop. And that's why any run up you get in GameStop is only going to be from retail FOMO or, high speed trading algos that are participating with retail. Could a dividend announcement make it run? Absolutely. I'd love that if that makes y'all happy. Just make sure you take the exit when it's peaking out. Peaking, you know what I'm talking about? When it's topping out.
I know what you're talking about.
If you love a GameStop, you can always buy back in, double your money, whatever. Sell, put some money in your pocket, pay some bills, wait for it to come back down, and then buy back in again. Things could change if Ryan comes on the call and announces, "Hey, we're buying this company, and here's the returns that we expect it to give us." If they actually can generate some earnings to justify a reasonable PE ratio, this 200 plus PE ratio, the longer they go without saying something, the price is going to get ground down over time. You could have volatility in the meantime. You could have multiple runs to 25, 30, 40 bucks just based on news. But ultimately, the company is going to need to deliver earnings. $4 billion. Here's the summary: $4 billion of cash on the balance sheet. Wall Street is not going to pay a premium for that. What do I mean by that? It's going to equate to some earnings. And like I said, if operationally they were break even, it's going to equate to about 47 cents earnings, which is not going to give you a $23 price. You'd be at 2 or 3x the PE ratio of your competitors. You could stay there for a while, but Wall Street is going to be incentivized to push it down. That's what I'm saying. So you're stuck in a really tough battle. So we need some good news from Ryan, and I hope he delivers it for everybody. I'm not against GameStop. I'm just trying to explain to you why some of these pumper channels who don't really understand valuation are missing the target here on explaining the importance of earnings. And they know they can't talk about earnings, so they misdirect you talking about book value, which is frankly just irrelevant. It's asinine, really. AK says, what about DJT? Here's my thoughts on DJT has always been, it's a news and volatility play only. The financials of this company are a wreck. So you need news. We've had several spikes related to Trump. The most recent one when he got shot. And the shorts were just like, yeah, thank you very much. And they smacked it back down. I wish the company well. I'm a fan of Donald Trump, but the financials of this company and the upcoming dilution, Donald selling shares potentially, yada, 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 is why the price is getting smacked. Do you have any other thoughts on that, Mediocre?
I mean, that's a tough one.
The lower it gets, the more I like it, but I only like it for a complete gamble play. Like the lower it gets, I feel, okay, I could buy a little bit here. And if I get lucky that some news comes out, like Donald's going to win the election, I could 2, 3, 4x my money. But man, you're in a tough position if you bought in at 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 bucks. There's no earnings from this company to justify that kind of valuation. And the finances of the company are trash at the moment, just being blunt.
I mean, I hope they get better, but, we got to wait and see what happens.
I hope they get better too. Sufyan says, question, will you both wear an astronaut helmet during the games? No, we'll save that for the GameStop YouTuber, Sufyan. No need to be overly pumpish over here. We'll let the pumpers wear the helmets.
That's right.
What else we got here? Any info on ChargePoint? I looked at ChargePoint and I played it for a bit back in 2021, and I keep on glancing at their chart from every now and then. I looked at it this morning. I was like, holy shit, man, they got beat up. They have gotten beat the F up, mediocre.
Wow.
I got out of it. I played it for a couple weeks or maybe a couple months back in 2021, thinking, not looking at the financials, just thinking out loud, like if EVs are going to do so well, then charging stations should do really well too, right?
Yeah, it looks like a slip and slide.
Yeah, that was my initial thought. And then once I was in it and it wasn't really doing anything, I was all right, I'm going to be stuck in this thing. I need to look at the financials. And when I looked at the financials, I immediately sold a couple years ago. I was like, hell no, hell to the no. And then on top of that, we have Tesla, making their charger the standard. I haven't even looked at their financials recently, but what I saw a year or so ago was enough to scare me. And I see that they still don't have positive earnings. So looks like it was a good call. And you're going to need, I don't know, what's their plan to get profitable? That'd be my question for you. I don't have any thoughts on XRP, Matt. Mediocre, you been looking at any cryptos lately?
No.
Let's
don't waste my time with any of that.
Bitcoin. Someone was talking to me just about 10 days ago when Bitcoin was up here around 60, saying, Tony, I want to start trading Bitcoin. I was like, well, why don't you wait for it to come down a little bit? Just look at the chart. The chart showing you that we're in a downward trend from 73, and we just keep on hitting lower lows. Why don't you think about waiting? That was just my general thought, not advice to him, but looking at the chart, just like all I see is we're in a downward trend long term. And could that turn around? Maybe, but if I was jumping in like he was thinking about it, I wouldn't want to be buying at 60 when we keep on testing well below 60. Lower it gets, the better I think maybe our odds are for another quick little pop up. Buy at 56, sell at 63, keep a little bit in case it keeps running. But what do you think, Mediocre? It doesn't look super bullish on Bitcoin.
No, it looks like it's bull flagging.
Yep. I don't know if I can pull up XRP on here or not. No, I can't. I'll pull it up on another. Wasn't that one of the ones that Lou was pumping? Our good old buddy Lou?
Yes.
X-Force, XRP, and XRT. Coin Gecko. Every time, guys, I think about sinking a bunch of money in crypto, I keep on looking at the chart, waiting a week, and then telling myself, thank God I didn't buy any.
You don't want to own XRP, Tony?
No, I'm just talking about crypto in general. Every time I think, oh, man, it's looking good, let me go in and buy some. And then I wait, and it gets smashed down. Here's our XRP. Let's go to a 3-month. That's not too bad. I
don't know anything about it. I don't mess with no cryptocurrency at all.
I'm not even going to talk about all of the theories. I'm just looking at the chart. In the 1 year, 70 cents down to 50. Not horrible either. I mean, it looks better than a lot of the stocks we look at, right, Mediocre?
Yeah. We do look at some bad stocks, don't we?
Only by audience request.
Oh, God.
All right. let's see what questions y'all have, and then we're going to talk about Lunar. Unless anybody else have GameStop comments, questions. Yeah, would I like to see them do a dividend for y'all? Sure. I'd really rather them announce some investment of the cash. Giving a dividend back to you is just throwing cash away. I'd rather see them invest that money. But if it pumps because you get a dividend and that makes y'all happy, that's cool too. I want to see earnings. I want to see that they've stopped the bleeding on an annual basis. They made what? How much did they make last year?
Tony Matt wants to know if you heard anything from the crypto cowboy.
Yeah, he said he was doing okay, but that he slowed down his trading. I was like, whew, thank goodness. GME. I said, why did you slow down? Did you get scared? He's like, no, my real job got kind of busy. I was like,
That's
all right,
probably good.
that's a reasonable answer. Income for GameStop on an annual basis. Yeah, 6 million. So operating was negative 31. They got saved by their interest income, and they eked out positive 6 for the fiscal year. So yeah, we need to see some earnings. We need to see a further improvement on the margin, or we need to see further reduction in cost, or both. We know that they're going to make money. I'm pretty confident they're going to make money on interest. What did I tell y'all? My guess was for this quarter about 30 to 35 million in interest income would be my guess. And yeah, we'll see. I hope it's good. But I'm not holding my breath. What's your ticker, Mediocre? LUNR?
Yes, sir.
All right, let me put that chart up. Stop screen sharing. Put up this one.
This isn't my ticker.
Well, it's one that you were mentioning to me earlier today, and we didn't really have a chance to talk about it. So I'm going to put up the daily chart. So here we have a year and a half of data. Tell me what got you interested in this, and what are your thoughts?
So, we got a couple people in the Discord community who asked me to look at it. They had entered into it. And, one of our very well respected guys, I'll say his name, Rolf, looked into it, for this other gentleman.
Mm-hmm.
And Rolf was in on it. And so he asked, they were telling me about it, whatever. And I kept blowing it off. And so I decided to look at it. And ultimately,
Let me guess, they were telling you about it when it was at $3, huh?
No. This was recent.
Okay.
No, it was recent, but they have a launch coming up, a moon launch. So it's possible that this thing could go.
I used to play some of these around the moon launch times, some of the other tickers, and the pattern worked out until I started trying to follow it.
Right.
That one time that here's a very definite pattern. It runs up right before every launch. Then I bought in the next one and it didn't. I was like, fuck my life.
So this one has, the reason I'm interested is because options premiums are extremely high.
Yeah, I was just looking at that. So are we talking about selling calls or buying calls?
Oh, I'm talking about selling.
All right.
We don't buy.
10-cent ask on a $6. That's not too bad.
I mean,
that's for tomorrow.
Yeah, look at next week's for the $5 put.
selling a $5 put, 40 cents. Yeah, that's nice. And AMC option premiums have dried up.
they have dried up.
So
badly.
when we're looking for other tickers, when AMC dries up, you gotta find something else to try and maximize your wheel income. And this is what mediocre and these other guys too. But Tony, you need to look at Lunar. The options premiums are on fire, and I'm like, I can't. I'm trying to find the Morningstar data for these people.
So Tony, I did some research. I went to Dilution Tracker,
Yeah.
and I'm looking at Lunar on Dilution Tracker, and it's not bad. And I'm like, what? Okay, like there's not a whole lot of dilution that could most likely happen. There's some that could happen, but it's not like a lot likely. If you want to pull it up, you'll see what I mean.
Yeah,
But
I
then
will.
I started looking at stock analysis and going over some of the the fundamentals, checking the
Let's
financials.
pull up stock analysis, and I'll get you your question, Dan, in just a second. That is a good question.
So
What do we like better, GameStop or AMC for long-term potential? I want to get to that question, but let's do a quick look here at Lunar revenue. All right, net income. They had one massive quarter with the loss. What was that from? Earnings from other non. I'd have to go look at the 10Q to see what happened there. But generally, mostly positive, other than this one exception. Negative operating margin, negative profit margin. Not stellar, but not total trash either.
look at analysts.
I'm getting there. I just got to do my quick look here.
Yeah, go for it.
Cash, 31 million, assets 140, liabilities 150, shareholders equity -10. I mean, if you're just trying to swing trade it for a launch mediocre, we mostly don't care about this. It's not the best balance sheet in the world.
But you want to know, you don't want to make sure you're not going to get burned too.
Right. You want to make sure you're not going to get dumped on the first day it starts running. And cash flow. Womp, womp, womp. Come on. All right. Analysts have a price target between $8 and 11 mediocre.
Mm-hmm.
And we got three of these are Andre Shepard. So we got Andre, Suji, and Josh all giving a $10 price target. They're expecting some massive revenue bumps. I haven't looked at Lunar's game plan, but I'm assuming mediocre. They're planning more launches over the next few years.
Well, they got one coming up.
Increasing the frequency. How else did they get their revenue up?
Well, they get their revenue because they rent space on their launches.
Right. But they would quadruple their revenue by increasing the launch frequency, right?
Yeah, that's what I think.
So that's what it looks like. I mean, if they can stay on plan, looks okay. And now let's look at dilution tracker. Overall risk of dilution high, offering ability high, cash need high. So the float is at around 128 and looks like they can dilute it up to, with warrants and at the money, another 45 million shares. That's pretty significant. Company has 3 months of cash left based on their quarterly cash burn of -18 million. Not super good, right? Mediocre.
Yeah, it's not super good, but the amount of shares, I mean, I've seen worse, right?
But I'm just going to guess, knowing the people that are talking up this play in our Discord, none of them are saying, Tony, let's buy Lunar for a short squeeze and hold it for the next 3 years. they're looking at a quick in and out ahead of the launch and selling
Exactly.
options to generate premium for a week or two, and then move on to the next play.
Yep. That would be the goal. So
Dan says, what do you like more for long term, AMC or GameStop? Mediocre, I'm going to let you go first.
I mean, that's a tough question. I like both of them, to be honest with you. The reason why, let's just talk about GameStop. GameStop has $4 billion in cash sitting there to buy something. If they purchase something and starts to bring in revenue on what they purchased to bolster their balance sheet, their price could go up, right?
Their income statement.
Yeah, I'm sure they're going to go up in value just based on that. If they did something with the 4 billion, they're likely to go up in price in value. Their stock price will go up. As far as AMC, you got the box office with increasing movies. Hopefully, we keep inflation to what we used to be, like what was it, 230 a quarter, something like that. I can't remember the numbers. I'd have to pull up the website to look, but I mean, if we could get back to 2019 levels of movies, AMC's going to be profitable. So I like them both for different reasons.
That's kind of how I would answer the question too. They're both interesting plays, but for different reasons. I think AMC is more at a fair valuation right now. Maybe, because it's been ground down into the dirt, right? So if you're coming at it fresh right now and you're, I'm not talking about people that bought at $70 3 years ago. I'm talking about people that are buying it right now. If the box office keeps growing, they've already pushed the debt off to 2029, 2030. So there's no immediate bankruptcy risk. There might be a little more dilution risk. That's something you got to be aware of in any run up. But if the box office grows like we expect it to into 2025 and 2026, and the company starts posting 20, 30, 50, $100 million profits operationally in a quarter, I think you might get some analyst upgrades, and then it's not going to be a $5 stock anymore, but it's still risky because you're basically making a gamble on box office. It's not even a gamble on AMC anymore. It's what do you think box office is going to do? GameStop, same thing Mediocre said, the $4 billion in cash and no debt, very strong balance sheet, no risk of bankruptcy there, but they're lacking in earnings. But $4 billion gives you a lot of potential to do something interesting, and we know retail is primed in both plays, given enough good news to try and run the price up. So I think they're both interesting, but Ryan, he's going to need to announce something or start talking to people. The longer he's quiet, it's just going to be very frustrating if you're trying to hold it. There's going to be, my best case scenario is they come out and smash expectations next week. I mean, that's what I would love to see for everybody. I don't think that's going to happen, but if that happens, then I think everybody's, Wall Street is not expecting that, and you could have the price run. I'm not expecting it, but if it does, awesome.
I mean, I'll be honest, I like playing both of them.
But you got to do the math. So here's the math that I came up with. It let's say they had $1 in earnings for the year, and I gave them a 25 PE ratio. That'd be a $25 stock. They'd need to go from 6 million in net income to 400 million. They'd need let me say this slowly for the GameStop people watching. To get $1 earnings per share, you're going to need 400 million in net income. You made 6 million last year. If you make 400 million in the next 12 months, that will give you, if you're able to, 20x the earnings by some miracle, then you have 400 million in net income, gives you a $1 earnings per share, gives you a $25 stock based on a PE ratio of 25. So what happens if you 20x earnings? You're still $25 stock by Wall Street analysis. It's not my price target. That's how Wall Street's going to look at it. So now how do we get, all right, Tony, what do we got to do to make it a $40 stock? You're going to need 600, 700 million in net income. So you tell me, how does GameStop get there? They're not going to get that kind of profit as they're closing stores and the industry's, going digital. The core business is not going to deliver that. The 4 billion in cash earning interest is not going to come close to delivering that, especially if interest rates get cut. So how do you do it? Ryan has to invest the money. He's going to need to spend some of that money and figure out a way to generate real net income, or you're going to be frustrated in this play for a long time. If you're a long-term never sell dude, for those of us that just trade on volatility, I think there'll be some fun times ahead. It's going to be volatility.
Tony, throw up Wedmore's comment. I got a question for him. My question is, Wedmore, what makes you think he's still in the play?
He's saying Ryan Cohen. He says, I wouldn't be surprised if Ryan sells. I mean, I have nightmares that announcement's going to come out, Wedmore. That would be devastating. It would be devastating.
My bad. I didn't read the whole comment. I thought I was talking about Roaring Kitty.
Through all the dilution he's done, he's basically given him, he's almost at, what's his cost basis now? A few dollars? He would walk away super rich. He could. I don't think that he's that type of guy. This is his company. He's in charge. I think he wants to try and make it successful, but he has a Herculean task in front of him. If you think about the numbers that I just laid out for you, and GameStop people, I challenge you to fact check my numbers. I mean, I have done the work. I've got a spreadsheet, mediocre.
You got a spreadsheet for everything, Tony. I already know.
I already know exactly what it's going to take to get the numbers they want, and it's a massive amount of required net income to get the numbers they want. So, anyways.
Do you know how I'm going to get the numbers they want, Tony? I said, do you know how I'm going to get the numbers they want? By creating my own MOAS.
You're going to create your own MOAS. I love that phrase.
I know you do. Absolutely. Done with it.
Sufyan says, if you had to hold AMC or GameStop, which stock would you hold for a year? Gosh, Sufyan, such a tough question again, because AMC, I honestly believe the box office is going to go up. Can I not answer that question until I see if we have positive earnings in Q3? If we can knock out the start of, the next 5 out of 6 quarters being profitable, starting with this quarter, even if it's a small profit, then I think maybe the sentiment starts changing with AMC, and then I'm going to need to do the same type of tough analysis I'm doing on GameStop. I'm going to have to say, people are going to hate me just as much in the AMC world. All right, guys. Our float's 350 million. Our earnings for the year was 25 cents. What does that equate to if I give it a reasonable PE ratio? It's going to be a bad story there too. I mean, I don't know, Sufyan. Do you bet on box office or do you bet on Ryan Cohen finding something to do with $4 billion?
I'll just say this: I don't hold anything long term. I don't care. If I get stomped out, I get stomped out. I'll find a way to re-enter. If it's a good player, I'll move on to another one or whatever. So
I'm going to say for both of them, Sufyan, I am being very patient and waiting for good entries, constantly updating my analysis and my price targets of how high I think it could go. Like if I could get GameStop if I could get it at 14, 15, 19, I feel a lot better than getting it at 23. I feel better with my odds of holding it for a long time if I had to. If I can get AMC close to $4, I feel a lot better holding it for a year if I had to. I'm not buying a ton of either one of them, but I am. People say, "Well, Tony, why were you talking about $7?" I was trying to explain to you guys 4 months ago why analysts had a $7 price target for GameStop. That was never my price target. More lies from the GameStop YouTubers. But what was I going to say? Oh, I'm constantly updating my analysis on both of these plays. The analysis changed on GameStop when they diluted shareholders and raised $3 billion. You have to update your price target because now the balance sheet is in better shape. The book value increased over $3. There's more potential for them to do good things. So if you're wondering why my analysis of GameStop, my view on it changed, I don't believe in GameStop more or less than before. It's still got a failing core business, but now it's a failing core business with $4 billion. So the potential is there for them to do something interesting. What do you think, Sufyan? Which one would you hold for a year? I bet he's going to say, I'm not holding either one right now.
Exactly.
I don't have any GameStop at the moment. I keep on waiting for it to come back down to a level where I'm willing to buy it or get on a good run. Hasn't really done either.
I do know that he got out not losing any money.
Sufyan?
Mm-hmm.
He fixed his position.
Absolutely, nice. He did.
I do have some AMC, but not near as much as I carried over, the last few years. And that's kind of really seems odd, right? Mediocre. Like, why wouldn't you buy more now? I keep asking myself that. Why am I not buying more now? I might. I got to see what happens with Beetlejuice weekend. Yeah, mostly because the short interest is not over 20%, first of all. Sufyan says 1 out of 10 core businesses failed. I would go for the box office increase since it's more tangible. That's a valid point, Sufyan. And Sufyan is a CPA. You got one company, AMC, that has increasing revenues and a reasonable expectation that revenues are going to continue increasing, a reasonable expectation of profitability. And then you got GameStop, which is closing stores, cutting everything to the bone, pissing off employees just to make sure that their SG&A is low enough to not lose a bunch as the industry is collapsing on them. They're trying trading cards and they're trying retro gaming. From I think the margins that the GameStop pumpers on YouTube are pushing out are vastly overestimated based on my DD and people that I've talked to. Probably not even at the level of the current margins of the business. Trading cards and retro will probably bring down their margins, is going to be my guess. But we'll see. I hope I'm wrong. I hope, for the love of God, I hope I'm wrong. But that's what my investigation has told me so far. And if I'm wrong, I will. I'll say I'm wrong, and I'll be happy that I was wrong, because I'm not short, and I really don't care. I'm just trying to do the best analysis for myself that I can to get a good entry, and then I'd come on here and talk with you guys about it.
AK's got a couple of questions.
All right, AK, C3AI, MCK. How about those? I haven't looked at them, but we can. What is the ticker for C3AI?
I don't know.
Is MCK, is that McKesson? Is that the one you're talking about before I put it up on the screen? What's up, LST? Mr. Stevens says, I will say many penny stocks have really ran with more share count than AMC. So I think we're getting close to a real squeeze. Yeah, I mean, the thing about penny stocks is people don't think twice about buying 1,000 or 10,000 shares because they're so cheap. So they can run real easy, especially if the float's low. You just got to hope you don't have something like a Mullen where the CEO has no revenue and a lot of incentive to dilute into any run up. Is AK, is MCK McKesson? Is that the one you want us to look at? Broke Ape says when GTA 6 drops, GME could go bananas. Yeah, that's what, in 2026? I have that on my calendar as a good future catalyst for GameStop, but we got to get there. We got to survive till then.
They keep bumping it back.
AK, are you still here, AK? LST, do you have any thoughts on GameStop? Dun, 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 dun. Ba, da, 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 dun, da, 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 da. Mr. Stevens says Mullen is done. They will be off NASDAQ before 2024. I agree with you. Although they have this interesting thing that they're trying to push about the UAE. I think that's a bunch of hogwash myself. But we'll see. Maybe they'll surprise me. I want to see them unloading 100 trucks off the boat. And how they get a boat, they said they shipped them this week, mediocre, and they'll be there in a week. It takes 20 to 40 days to get a container ship from the U.S. to UAE. How are they going to get it there in a week?
I don't know.
All right.
I don't have the answer to the question.
There's a lot of weird things, and I've been doing a little bit of DD on Mullen, but I mostly just leave those people alone because I think most have wisened up, and the ones that are left are beyond help. MKD. He says, yes, that is the one. AK. MCK, sorry. MCK.
What does this company do, Tony?
This company, mediocre.
Ouch.
Has dropped from 636 to 514. I mean, it was on a good roll there. They are profitable. The float's 129. Let's see what we can find out here, mediocre. MCK, hang on. Don't worry, guys. I'm not going to be like a GameStop YouTuber and only analyze this play based on book value. Mediocre, have you ever noticed when the only tool in your toolkit is book value, the only thing you know how to do is analyze other companies based on book value? I find that hilarious. Look at this. They're trading at 20x book. This is trash. Hey, buddy, look at the earnings. You'll understand the price. Stop looking at book value. Nobody fucking cares. You're looking at the wrong thing. McKesson provides healthcare services in the U.S. Pharma, prescription, medical, surgical solutions, and international. All right. Revenue trend has been nicely up. Operating income, decent. Net income, mostly decent except for 2020, but it is on a decline for the last 3 years. Let me go to quarterly. What happened? What happened here? Must have been some announcement because nothing's jumping out at me here. Let's look at their balance sheet. While I'm looking at this, MAK, if you know of the news, drop me a couple words in the chat. Balance sheet, they got 2.3 billion in cash, 52 billion in current 52 billion in current assets. Holy smokes. 71 million total assets, 73 million total liabilities. Negative shareholders equity, total debt 7 million. Negative working capital 4 million. That's not ideal. Negative operating cash flow, that's probably has something to do with the recent downturn. And they have been repurchasing stock consistently. All right, let's see what the news is here.
I'm kind of interested in this, Tony, this one.
10 days ago, McKesson to buy controlling stake in Core Ventures for $2.5 billion. Is that when it started tumbling? No, it started tumbling on August 7th. All right. How many did that? Was a month ago. McKesson revenue hurt by supply and demand issues. McKesson warned that limited supply of GLP-1 is hurting sales. Well, that's the problem. They also reported weak sales. So yeah, it fell on earnings. But I didn't see it. What did I miss? Quarterly income. Net income. What am I missing here? Revenue went up and net income went up. Operating income stayed flat on growing revenue. That could be it. I don't know. I don't know enough about this company and what their future prospects are. Let's see if we got any analyst updates in the last 30 days since they reported earnings.
What was the ticker again? I'm going to write it down so we can check it later.
MCK.
MCK.
It's trading for $514 a share. Mediocre. We got two analysts with updates since earnings with a $660 price target. So, I mean, if they don't continue into the toilet, you're looking at about a potential 30% return over the next 12 months.
Yeah.
That's not bad if the problem they had was temporary.
I wrote it down to do some more digging.
Yeah, it's tough for me to tell you for sure, not knowing the core business and without reading the 10Q and listening to what the executive said. I'm just looking at a couple of headlines here, but we understand now why the price fell. And I'd need to see what it must not have been the best outlook, at least in the short term, for the price to take a hit like that.
I wonder if part of it was the overall market as well. You know, that's part of the reason why I wrote it down.
The market overall, yeah, it could be that too.
Yeah, had a bad earnings and they just took advantage of it because the market was going down. You know, I don't know yet. I don't know that to be true.
Mr. Stevens says, I'm curious how much Ryan has made on his $4 billion coffer. Are you talking about the company? I'm estimating for this quarter that they're going to report 30 to 35 million in interest income. And for the year, I think I said just over 100 million. You have to go watch my GameStop video from last week. I've already done the math. You got GameStop YouTubers out there telling people they're going to make 500 million on interest income. That's just absolute stupidity. There's zero chance they make more than 200 million if they just did nothing but invested it in T-bills in a money market fund. They'd need to invest it in something else. And 5% of 4 billion is 200 million. Factor in an interest rate cut, it's going to be somewhere between 100 and 200 million for the year, the low side, because we're already 3 quarters in by the time we get earnings next week. C3AI. What's the ticker? This is fun to occasionally look at some of these other ones. Cold, mediocre. Oh, AI is the ticker. All right, let's pull it up.
I mean, like this one that he just put up. Like that's not a garbage stock, Tony. You know what I
Right,
mean?
it's
Like,
not a garbage stock, and we like finding good stocks that had a temporary stumble, right?
yeah,
And those are some of my favorite plays,
take
AK, as you
advantage,
may
baby.
or may not know. I like finding decent companies that are on a temporary stumble, buy them, and then wait a year. If I can make 30% in a year, I just got to spend more time looking into it to convince myself that the bleeding is done. All right, let's look at the daily on this company, AI. Another big drop here, mediocre.
Oof.
33 bucks down to 21 since when? Since June. Are they getting smacked because of NVIDIA and the fact that their company name is AI?
Is it an AI company? What do they do?
I'm about to go check. I just wanted to get a look at the chart here. 183 back in 2021, $21 now. Ouch.
That's a big sell off.
They're not profitable. Let's look at this chart. Enterprise AI software company globally. All right. Let's see. Let's do it backwards this time. Let's see what the analysts are predicting. 20 to 40 bucks. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 analysts with price targets. Wow, what a discrepancy here. We got 3 of them lowering
Yeah.
to 20, and we got 2 maintaining 40. That's a pretty wide discrepancy on what they think this company is going to do over the next 12 months. So the analysts have no fucking clue. Let's look at annual real quick. Annual revenue's been growing. Earnings per share have been constantly negative. That's not great. On a quarterly basis, still growing, but I mean it's losing money. So when does that story change? This company's been losing money for, since forever. That's why the price is getting beaten down. Even with the revenue growing, they can't seem to figure out how to make money. And we're not just talking a small loss here. They're not making any improvement. Balance sheet, total assets, 1 billion, total liability. Okay, so they're in decent shape on the balance sheet. Positive working capital. And mostly negative on operating cash flow. What's going on the financing here? Some small amount of stock buybacks. Oh man, I mean, if I was looking at these two and trying to decide them, the first one looks a lot better to me. But again, I'd need to go in and figure out why. What do these analysts say? What does Timothy and Joe see here to give it a $40 price target that Brad, Kingsley, and Gill don't see? On the bright side, if these three sell analysts have a $20 price target, you're almost there. So it seems like there's nowhere to go but up from here unless they keep fucking up. Maybe we're getting to a point where it's okay to start taking a nibble.
See if they got options.
Yeah,
Weeklies.
let's see. AI, let's see. Mediocre, good point. They do. How far out you want to look? A year? Yeah, let's look at a year just for fun.
All right.
Let's say January 2026. Because they don't, for whatever reason, I don't see well, all we got is our choices are January or April. April 2025 doesn't seem like enough time. So let's look at January 26. You can buy a 2250 strike for about $6. Before I spend that much money on one option, it's a lot of time, but I'd want to know where is that point where I think that they're going to not trade flat. This is the really difficult thing, right? Like when I bought Royal Caribbean, I was eventually right. It eventually recovered far above my strike price, but I got beat up because of the time decay.
That's the problem.
You're spending a lot of money here, Mediocre, and if it takes 9-12 months for them to start fixing the problem or AI stocks to start recovering, you're going to get blown out.
Yep.
So I don't know. I'm not super excited about this one, even for a long-term call option. That's the gamble. Try and buy those leaps just when you think they're about to fucking turn it around. They were at $10 in 2023. What do you bet, Mediocre, that it wants to head back down there?
Looks like it's going.
Yeah. I'd buy call options if it hits between 10 and 13 bucks, maybe.
You get some sort of market crash, it could easily get there.
Yeah.
They like to take advantage of the weak ones, Tony. You know that.
Yep. ASTS.
Oof.
That's looking a little prettier. Was this a reverse split stock, or did they just run up because they're that good?
That is nice looking.
$1.97 in April to $39. Look what happens when you report good earnings, mediocre.
Jesus.
It went from $2 to $6 in a matter of days. They had negative revenue, and then they reported 500,000 in positive earnings.
Oh man.
And not sorry, 500,000 in revenue. All right, let's look at
There's so
the
many stocks in the market. Like it's, even if you use a screener, like I have a daily screener I can look at, but you're not going to catch everyone like this. Like that's a nice move right there.
Let's look and see what happened. Yeah, why didn't you tell us about that one before?
I know.
Yeah, they went from no revenue to revenue. Mediocre. Can you see that?
Yeah.
They still have negative 72 million. Oh my gosh. The heck? Their losses, mediocre, their losses are getting worse, but the stock ran 30x. Are you fucking kidding me?
Why?
Short that bitch.
Is this a meme stock? What do they do? What is this company?
AST Space Mobile, together with its subsidiaries, develops and provides access to a space-based cellular broadband network for smartphones. Yeah, short that bitch. Buy some puts. Do they have puts available?
Tony's going to check.
They sure do. Woo, and they're cheap too. No, before I do that, I'd want to go in and figure out why the heck is it running so much. But it seems pretty odd. Let's see if there's any forecast. Well, I guess I'd be stupid, mediocre, just to jump on and say buy puts, because look at these analyst forecasts.
Strong buy.
63 high, average 43. All right, scratch what I said about puts. I'm going to need to look into this one more.
Tony, maybe they're not worried about the debt.
Let's look at the balance sheet. Okay, here's the deal. They went from no revenue to 77 million. They're forecasting next year that they're going to 6x that revenue again and then triple it again after that. I mean, if that's the case, but they're still saying negative earnings per share. They're not expected to make a profit till 2027. I don't know. It seems like this is going to be a high volatility stock, mediocre.
Yeah.
This is like an AMC type chart. You got revenues growing, you got losses till years out. Forecast. Somebody's lying here.
They got weekly options?
Yeah. Sure do.
What are the premiums looking like? The weekly.
Well, let's look 1 month out. A $29 call costs you $6. Ouch. That's like 50 cents above. 50 cents above the current price is going to run you $6. Puts, mediocre, you could sell the $28 strike for $6. Are you fucking kidding me? You better dump Lunar and get in this shit.
What's the stock price? I'll tell you right now.
$28.
Let me do some quick math.
That's a month out on those puts. down 14% today.
That was for a month.
A month out, $6. It's a $3 ask, $3 bid, $6 ask.
That's
So you'd
roughly
be
10,800 a month
it's
profit,
crazy.
roughly. God,
It's
I
just
like it,
pennies,
Tony.
mediocre. It's
What's
just
that ticker?
pennies. All right,
What's
we're
that?
gonna add that one to the DD list and let the boys know about it and the ladies.
What's the ticker?
ASTS.
AFTF?
No, Alpha Sierra Tango Sierra.
Alpha Sierra Tango Sierra. ASTS.
Yep.
Got it.
I don't know. I mean, I'd need to go in and convince myself based on what management is forecasting that a $60 price target is reasonable.
Yeah.
But man, that put and call option premium is insane.
Yeah.
Can you imagine selling covered calls on that mediocre?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like,
I know.
that was 1 month. You're talking over 10 grand. Where playing an AMC, I'm making 4 grand.
Yeah, we like it. Thank you for calling that one out. We'll dig into it some more.
I'm
We
not
like the
sure I'm going to do
potential.
it yet, but I'll look into it for sure.
Yeah, I'm not making any recommendations to buy the company because I haven't done the proper DD, but we like it enough that we're going to dig into it some more. Broke Ape says 400 million shares tank the stock. Did they just do a dilution? Oh yeah, that's what happened. Mediocre. They sold 400 million shares.
Which company was that?
ASTS. The company announced an ATM of, well, I mean, of course they did.
Why wouldn't
With
they?
CEO handbook.
Yeah.
When your
You get the
stock
run
runs
up
from
on it.
$2 to 39, you better fucking expect they're going to dilute.
Well, that's perfect timing to start playing what we like to play, Tony.
I know.
Right after dilution. I did that with JetBlue. I mean, I'm good.
On Wednesday, they also announced more than 155 million in proceeds is expected from previously announced redemption of warrants. So yeah, we need to dig through the filings. Don't take anything I said as a recommendation to buy because I need to spend a half day digging into everything that's going on here. But it's
Yeah,
interesting enough that it's worth digging into. I'll say that.
Yeah. I mean, but if it's going to keep falling, we need to know if it's going to settle at a spot before we, do anything. So we gotta look into what's going on because
And the other thing, now that I know about the dilution that they just announced, I would bet that those analysts that had the $60 price target are going to revise their price target down.
that's the other thing too, Tony, is people don't realize, right? Like you don't have to focus on one stock. Wherever, just go where the money is. If it's gonna net you good money because you're paying attention to what's going on, then that's a good play, right? It doesn't. The ticker symbol shouldn't matter. Is what I'm trying to say. Like I know, like I love AMC. Don't get me wrong. I'm with you guys on that one. I think GameStop. I'd like to see them survive as well, but if I could make more money in MCK or ASTS or Lunar, the ticker doesn't matter to me. That's when you can get to that point, and you'll get it.
So they had 269 million shares out, and they sold $400 million worth. Let's just say at, what was the price? Let's just say they sold them at 35. So they sold about another 100 million of shares. So I don't know. I think the price coming down, yeah, from 35 or 40 down to somewhere in the low 20s is reasonable for a 30% dilution. maybe give it a couple days. I think we'll have a couple days to dig into it, mediocre.
Yeah, I'm not
Well,
running into that. I already got a plan for next week, so I'm going to stick to my plan and do DD on these companies. And that's the thing, you guys. You don't have to rush into a play. It could be a good play, but I don't have to get in it right now. Just got to pay
that is
attention.
one thing we talk about a lot here. Like, I don't ever feel any pressure to jump into any play or even make X amount of trades per day or per week. I'd much rather be strategic and find the right play with high conviction in a good setup and make money on that than just trying to be willy-nilly chasing shit all day or every day. I didn't do a whole lot of trading last week. I haven't done a whole lot this week. All right, mediocre. I've got some other stuff I need to do tonight, so we're going to probably wrap up here in about 5 minutes, if that's all right with you.
Absolutely. I just want everybody
Tomorrow.
to know that I'm not no longer in JetBlue. So,
Okay.
yeah,
How'd that deal work out for you? Did you guys make money on that?
absolutely. My kids were happy. The two boys, they were happy. I kind of gave them a heads up of what I'm looking at next week already, so they're
Let me
happy about that.
let me throw the chart up here. You got in it here on this dip earlier this
450,
month.
baby. Yep,
450. I'm assuming you bought a lot of shares and sold some covered calls and then got called out.
absolutely.
Not too bad.
Nope. Sold the
Now,
$5
media,
call.
tell us, how do you make money when a stock's only running from 450 to 539? I mean, people would say it's impossible to make money on a play like that.
I mean, if it didn't move, and I mean, luckily it did that over what 2.5 weeks, 2 week period.
Yep.
You know, um, I planned it for a week. It took 2 weeks to get what I wanted, right? But I
What
was
strikes were
prepared.
you selling? $5?
I was selling fives because I didn't really want the stock, right? I only
Right.
wanted.
So I just, wanted you to walk through this, your thinking, for people that are wondering, like, why would they play this stock? Because I'm just going to guess that your plan was, if you could make 10% in a week on this stock, if it ran from 450 to 5, and you were able to sweeten it by selling covered calls and make a few more percent, if you could make 10, 15, 20% in a week, that's a pretty good week.
Absolutely, it is.
You're not trying to be greedy here. You're not trying to hold it to $7. You're just like,
You're beating the S&P 500. I mean, how much
in and out,
percentage
20% in
gain?
a week.
Right.
And just find one of those every week or every other week. You're going to smash the indexes. You're going to smash anybody that's buying and holding meme stocks.
Which is why I don't buy and hold. I hold. I mean, if it's going to continue to make me money, I'll do it, right? But if where I'm selling, if my shares get called away, I don't care. I made
Right.
my money. Thank you. So
Yeah.
it's not an issue.
And you had done the DD where you felt around 450 that it was probably, especially since it had just tumbled from over $7,
Yeah.
that you were buying in at a pretty safe price, right?
Right. I figured it was going to at least bounce up to $5. And I had played it before. Same thing from 450 to $5. But that's the thing. Like once it gets past that $5 range, is it what's the value of the company? You know what I mean? Like what is you know Wall Street going to think that the company is worth? If they think it's
Yep.
worth 550, I want to be out, just under 550. So $5. I can't sell 515 contracts. So I sell the fives and let them go. I don't care.
You're not trying to marry JetBlue, mediocre. You're just trying to hit it and quit it.
That's right. I just want my money in and out. Put my
All
money
right. I
back in
like
my
it.
bank. Move it to the next play. That's it.
I like it. All right, ladies and gents. Thank you for all the great questions, the great tickers tonight that y'all asked us to look at. I think we got some good ones to look at over the next few days and into this weekend. If you're in GameStop, I wish everybody good luck for good earnings next week. I'll do a debrief on the GameStop earnings after they post them. And I do hope that they beat everybody's expectations because I want to see y'all win. AMC, keep going to see those movies. There's a lot of great movies out right now. Again, my number for break even for AMC for this quarter, we need to hit 2.45 billion on domestic box office. I think that we're very close to being able to do that. And in my analysis, my guess, my estimate, my spreadsheet, anything above 2.45, 2.5 billion domestic should be a profit for AMC. And once this month is done, I'll do an earnings estimate video of what I think the numbers will be when they report it in early November. So I'm going to do my part. I've seen in like the last 11 days about 7 or 8 movies. There's a lot of good stuff out there right now, honestly. And I've got 2 or 3 more lined up for this next week. So hopefully y'all are doing the same. Spend some money on popcorn. And don't listen to all the crybabies and the naysayers. We're not trying to live in the past here. We're trying to buy cheap and bet on increasing box office. That's the plan. And then cross our fingers that Adam doesn't dilute on us.
Yeah, exactly.
Mediocre, thank you for your time. Ladies and gents, thank you for your time. If you're in the Discord, check the general chat. I put an announcement up there. And if you're interested in joining, I'm going to put the link in the YouTube chat one more time.
Yeah, guys, join the Discord. Jump into the chat. Click the Discord link and come on in.
As I don't have time to do a video every day, but I am sitting here doing analysis all day from 4 or 5 in the morning whenever I wake up till I get tired later in the evening. And as I find stuff, I drop it in the Discord. And as I'm sitting here working, you guys have questions, hit me up in the Discord. And one thing that we're adding, Mediocre, I didn't even tell you this, but I'm going to be adding the option flow into the VIP. So we'll be looking for I feel like we're missing some of these bigger trades by not watching the big order option flow. And it is expensive to get that data real time.
Yeah.
So I'm bumping up for new members. The price of the VIP is bumping up a little bit, but it's because data is not cheap, and I'm not trying to provide a free government service here. It costs me money. It's going to cost you a little bit of money, but we all share the cost and share the data.
Yeah,
so
if you want accurate information that's going to help you, this is probably one of the best spots to get it.
Thank you, ladies and gents. We love you. Have a good night, and we'll see all of y'all tomorrow. Let me find the outro music here. Here we go. All right. Take care, Mediocre.
Let's go. Yeah. I'm like an addict, do I gotta have it. I ain't even playing, got a really bad habit. If it moves, gotta grab it, fuse like a magnet. Lose, won't have it till I'm doomed in a casket. I ain't playing, got a weird mind. If you work 8 hours, I'ma work 9. If the shit tastes sour, you should taste mine. I'ma stay in power for a long time. Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that? I'm new, come back, better than last. Yeah, it's a new me, never gonna look back. Never gonna look back. Cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast, and that's fact.